What up, my guys? Welcome to another show, man. I did shorten the intro today, man. My guy Trig probably like, what's going on, man? But what's up? NFL is here. It's just preseason, guys, but there still may be some money to be made if you can get the right info. We have first ever time on the show, Adam Trigger from Wager Talk, guys. If you didn't know, we're sponsored by Wager Talk. A lot of great cappers over there, free picks, videos, NFL Kings, man. What's up with you, Trig? Everything good with you, my brother?
Oh, everything's great. I can't believe it's my first time on the show. I've been looking forward to it, so I'm glad we finally you're able to do it. And I was telling you off air. I mean, it's just another week of football. So as far as I'm concerned, the season starts this week. Just because the games are a little bit in terms of they're playing for, I guess you could say they're playing for nothing or they're playing for roster spots. But as far last I checked, the ticket cashes, it still pays the same if it wins.
Right.
So as far as I'm concerned, football starts today, and it's week one basically. So here we go.
Yeah, that's facts right there, man. Like I always say as well, I'm right there with you. The money still pays the same, man. So if we can try to get on some winners, it's not like it's what I'm saying, it's gonna play less just because it's preseason, right? So, but first off, Trig, let's talk about because like a lot of people don't necessarily like betting preseason or don't know how to. So, first off, I wanted to talk about some NFL preseason betting tips with my guy here. We know that you like betting preseason. It's all about getting the info, right? If you can get the right info of who cares more about the game, that's kind of the first thing for me, Tree. What are some of your main tips for betting the NFL preseason?
Absolutely, it's all about getting the info. But I'm just going to show you. I've got sheets of notes. Like I have so much info on week one so far, Jay, and I don't. It's also about sifting through the info and figuring out what's actionable and what's not because I have access to like 3 or 4 different sharp groups, guys that I know are beating the numbers and whatnot, and it's like there's been so much stuff bet already that I have to wonder. It's starting to feel like to me that a lot of the betting is correlating on news about starters playing or not, and my whole thing with that is even if the starters are going to play or not play, how long were they going to play anyway, right? Like the guys that are going to be deciding these games are your third string guys, guys battling it out for a roster spot. So to me, I'm trying to take everything with a grain of salt so far, and it's why I've only made one bet to this point because it's nice to get ahead of knowing okay, maybe the Giants are going to play their starters. I'm just using that as an example, but that's probably not going to be the only thing that decides the game. And I think it's going to be about finding, a wrinkle where maybe if you can go against one of them as the limits get higher later in, as it goes later in the betting, where you might be able to get a great number on a good bet by just simply, be willing to go against the sort of like group think of like, well, okay, this team's resting starters, so everyone has to play the other side. So I think if you can go contrarian, you can definitely make some money in the preseason.
Yeah, that's a good point there. Like, and some people, it's good. That's good to know as well because these lines have been out for at least a week now, and it's there. You've had plenty of time to get on some lines, so some people kind of know what they like and jump straight to it. But there's also the type of bettors that wait to the last minute before the game and get as much info as possible, and then they'll attack as well. That's kind of how I like to do it, especially with football as well. You never know how injuries are. The coaches kind of change their minds, and also in preseason as well, it's kind of bigger to go with. One thing I'm starting to notice, Trig, like in football, you want to go with most of the time the better coach because the team will literally take the coach's mentality and literally, play like that. Like, so that's how I look at it. Maybe not always, but that's just how I'm looking. It's a lot of different types of tips. It's really one of those things that overdoing it for a long period of time, you kind of learn different nuance, different things to what to do and what not to do. Trig. So any other closing tips on this one, my guy? Just any good tips that you give the people as far as how to bet these preseason games?
Yeah. So I'm going to simplify preseason football betting right now, and I think that if you do this and then just monitor the news that comes in and whatnot, you'll probably do okay. Go look and see what the coach's record in the preseason is. It doesn't necessarily mean the better coach, but some of these guys care about winning and some don't. And you can it's published all over the internet. Just do a search. You can find their coach, what the coach's record is in the preseason, and some have horrible records and some have really good records. And I think that like it is something to consider, because some of these guys care about the final score of these games and some don't.
Mm-hmm.
And one we'll talk about in a minute with Harbaugh, right? Like the Ravens, they win these preseason games, and I have to think that has something to do with the way Harbaugh coaches the preseason games. The other
Right.
thing is quarterback play, and not the starter, right? Not the the Jalen Hurts, Zach Wilson. It's going to be the guys that are going to come in and play later in the game. And specifically, Jay, I look for mobile quarterbacks, especially in week 1 and week 2, mobile quarterbacks that can make a play without there needing to be a good play run, right? Because we know that these offenses are going to be a little bit slower. They haven't had as many reps. So I look for a quarterback that I think can potentially, improvise and make a play when something breaks down, because a lot of times that will be the play that breaks. And you look at some of these totals, they're all in the low 30s. So
Right.
a touchdown or two that gets broke, it's probably going to decide one of these games. So
Yeah,
that's
that's
sort
what
of two things that I look at, and we can kind of illustrate it. We'll talk about Eagles Giants later, or Eagles Jets later. I feel like it's a good illustration of that.
right.
But two things, I think if you look at those things and then just stay on top of the info, meaning if you can get ahead of, like, especially in the later weeks, week 2, week 3, you can get ahead of like a wholesale resting of starters or something like that. You'll probably do a pretty good job.
Yeah, I'm with you on that, man. Got it. It's all about the info, guys. So if you're get on Twitter, look some of these info. Get
Yep.
on Twitter or YouTube. What I'd like to do, man, watch the practice reports, man. They'll kind of tell you a lot. That's kind of how I got a little bit of info on this game. Let's talk about one of these games, Trig. Let's get to this first game. We got the Giants here, laying 2.5 on the road at the New England Patriots here, guys. So I'll be honest. Like I say, when I'm watching everything, they're saying that out of the Giants camp that they're at least going to play their starters at least the first 15 snaps or so, guys. So you're going to at least get some starters for maybe around, depending on how long the series go, maybe 2 to 3 series for the Giants, maybe a whole first quarter out of the Giants for their starters just to get some reps. And they do have a new coach over there as well, Trig. That's one thing I'd like to do, hop on one of these new coaches that's trying to start the culture right. You're trying to at least start off with a win. Even if it's preseason, that win is big for you just to get started off. I know me, if I'm a first year head coach, I'm not trying to start off with an L. I don't give a damn if it's preseason,
Right.
man. So the Giants may want this one a little bit more. Talking about Guy Teddy, he's saying that maybe with his quotes coming out of Patriots, maybe they don't not necessarily care about the game, but maybe they're not necessarily playing their guys, like obviously trying not to get injured. So I'd be leaning towards the Giants here, Trig. But we know laying points in preseason is pretty tough. Personally, I sprinkle a little some on the Giants money line here.
Yeah, I agree with you there. So I'll just start with this. I think the Giants as a whole are vastly underrated this year. Probably the only, I'm not a huge futures guy. I don't tie up a ton of my money with futures and season win totals, but I did bet Giants season win total over 7 because I think the Giants are very undervalued. Now, does that really matter in the preseason? Probably not as much. Obviously, the guys that are going to be on the field here, probably not, the starters, but as you said, they've been pretty adamant that they're going to play their starters for at least a quarter. In typical Patriots fashion, we have no clue what they're going to do, right? Like they won't give us anything really. So I've gotten burned in the past a couple times by betting against the Patriots in the preseason, thinking they're not going to care and whatnot, and they come out and do. But it certainly kind of makes sense that the Giants would care a little bit more. And I go back to the first thing that you said. I don't want to bet against a head coach making their debut because to that head coach, that's still their first NFL game. Like, so that it's going to mean something, as you said. It's going to mean something more than it's going to mean for like an Andy Reid or a Bill Belichick or anyone that's been around for a while, right? Anyone that's been coaching for a while. So I've played the head coach wants to win in their debut angle in the past. I think I've had probably one more than I've lost with it. So yeah, I certainly lean the Giants here. It's not something I've bet yet. You've probably, if you kind of missed the number where it stands, but I think you could still make a case to like go a little smaller on the money line, maybe minus 150. I wouldn't lay points. I'll just say that I don't love laying points in the preseason. If I'm going to
Right.
do it, it's going to be with a spread that's like a -4 or -5, and I think they're going to win by 40, right? Like
Right.
I don't really want to lay 3 because we know that none of these games are going to, no one's trying to play for a tie. So if it gets to the end of the game, you're not going to get bailed out by a team tying the game. They're probably going to go for 2, and,
Right.
you're going to be, so I don't want to lay points in the preseason. I agree with you. Giants money line for me here as it stands. Unless something happens today that can, make the Patriots far more appealing, I definitely will
Right.
lean Giants in this one.
Yeah, and this one has moved as well. When I took the money line, I believe it was at -1.5. It is up to 2.5, threes at some spots, but that's still showing strength that the Giants may be the right side here. Like I said, it doesn't take much money to move a preseason game because there's not a ton of bets on it. But like I said, I do think that the Giants maybe take this game a little bit more seriously. I got the money line at, I believe, -136. I put a little sum on it. It is up to -150 now, so it's up to you guys. Like I say, it's just preseason, guys. We're not going bunkers on this. Really just doing the show. We're doing this to help some people that are betting. You know what I'm saying? Just trying to share some info, as much info as possible for the people that do care about making some bets here, guys. So we're just trying to help you, win, man. Some guys in the chat like in Baltimore, they like in Patriots. Hey, it's all love here, man. It's us against the bookies. We're all trying to cash here. But so let's go to the next game here. So yeah, that was the Giants laying 2.5 versus the Patriots on the road as the favorites there as well. And that line has flipped. The Patriots opened up as -2, and then now the Giants are -2.5, -3 as well. So we'll see what happens in that one. Let's go over here to the game that everyone's talking about, Trig. This is the hot commodity, right? This game is going to be easy, apparently. Only thing I hear is people saying, hey, just go take the Ravens, man. It's simple. You don't need to look into the game, anything, Trig. Is it really that easy? Just take the Ravens. They are 20-0 straight up last 20 preseason games. I believe like 16-3-1, 16-2-1, and 2 or something like this on the spread. They're laying points here. What do you think? What do you think here?
So here's the thing with this one, right? Like John Harbaugh is 40-12 in the preseason, which is outstanding, right? 13-1 in 14 week 1 preseason games. The problem I have with the Ravens here is you're being forced to lay a big time premium to back them, right? So like, be that as that it may, and he does win preseason games. It's like, at what point is it just getting out of control? I did take some Titans just at the open of 5. And it's got knocked down a little bit, but of course the Titans kind of came out and said that they're not going to play any of their starters, or that whatever, like that they said, or no Derrick Henry, I think is exactly what they said. And then you'll probably see the starters limited. But with that, I go back to this thing like, okay, even if Derrick Henry played in this game, like, is he really worth anything to the line? Like, how much is he going to have an impact getting a few carries on a couple of drives? So there's matchup, like I understand why people would back the Ravens here, right? Like Harbaugh's been a machine. I like the fact that the Ravens backup quarterbacks are mobile, and that they, you in the case of like Tyler Huntley, like he's had plenty of time as a starter, and that's something I like to look for as well. Whereas you're going to get some inexperience coming in with the Titans, which is a little concerning, right? Malik Willis will make his debut. Looks like the other guy is Logan Woodside. So not a ton of experience there, but man, I still think I would have to go Titans if I was going to really, get involved in this game, just because I think the premium the books are forcing you to pay to back the Ravens is just too big here. So I would take the Titans plus the points. I'd try to get a 4 if you can find one. That's pretty good value. You can find a +4 in a preseason game that should be competitive. That's pretty good. And I tell you, Jay, I think the only reason we're seeing this over a field goal is because of the Ravens' history in the preseason. So it's hard to quantify. Is it worth an extra point? Is it not? Like it's tough. Like, that's what we're trying to figure out, of course. But to me, if you can get 4 or better with the Titans, that feels like the right side here to me.
Yeah, and nobody's gonna like it. It's starting to be, it's threes popping up here, guys. Like this line opened up at 2.5. It was all the way up to 5, right? Obviously, everyone's betting on the Ravens. Now it's down to -3. So it was 3.5 last night, down to 3. I'm seeing some money coming in on them Titans, man. I'll tell you this, guys, straight up. You probably get used to this. So me doing NFL, a lot of times I like to go against the grain, man. I think NFL is one of those biggest conspiracy type of sports. I like going against the grain, man. If I was betting this game, it's nothing official for me here, but I'd be on the Titans here. All I've been hearing is Ravens. Did you bet the Ravens? Or I don't bet NFL preseason, but I just bet the Ravens. So I really just think it's going to come to a point in time, and also, when he got that 20th straight preseason win, that broke the record right there. So does Harbaugh even care really about the preseason that he used to? So they still have some good backup quarterbacks. I see everybody in chat talking about Hundley. They have some good mobile quarterbacks as well for the Ravens. It is something that you like. I'm worried about their receiver core. They did lose a bunch of receivers as well, even starters. So I'm definitely worried about the backups as well. So obviously you won't have guys like Lamar Jackson out there, but I wouldn't be a bit surprised to see Malik Willis, who's been tested a lot in practice. I wouldn't be surprised to see him do well in that second half. And maybe if Huntley's starting, maybe he's not the quarterback in the second half for the Ravens. But we get Malik Willis in the second half. He's been tested a lot in practice, guys. So he could be a little bit more ready for this game than we might think. He's a mobile quarterback as well that can also make some plays with his feet. So I wouldn't be surprised to see the Titans shock everyone here, Trig. It's nothing official for me. I understand everybody's on the Ravens here, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Titans actually won this game straight up, Trig. Anything on this one, or you want to touch on a couple more games? Oh, I think he froze real quick. It's cool. We'll get him back in here, my guy. But man, y'all know me, man. Conspiracy J, man. Say I'll be honest with y'all in the chat. I know y'all probably hate it. I think the Titans, I think they might get it done today, man. Just like everybody's on the Ravens, man. But let's see what happens, man. I'll call it a heavy lean to the Titans plus the 3.5, and those points could come into play as well, my guys. But it's preseason, man. So we're definitely not going crazy on these games, guys. In the chat, is there anybody in the chat that even thinks the Titans can get it done? What up, Tria? You want to go to this spot?
I got kicked in. StreamYard, we use StreamYard every once in a while for one of the shows we do at Wager Talk. I don't know if that's me, but this program just kicks me. It's the only program that ever kicks me off randomly. It used to happen, and so sorry about that. I'm back. Before we go to Falcons,
okay. Damn, it's all good.
Eric Jones made a good point. Baltimore did pick up some injuries last preseason. You wonder if they're just going to say, you know what, like, let's get a couple reps for the starters and get them out because we don't want to take injuries, in the preseason, which makes the points obviously that much more valuable. And then Paul Vu about totals. I think the totals are typically low. Like they're gonna. You want to bet unders, but the books are beating you to it in the respect that they're going to hang like low 30s. So it's tough to bet totals in the preseason. I look for spots that I can bet an over maybe because I feel like most of them are low. But like for example, look at the Raiders Jaguars game last week, right? Like every sharp guy was on the under. Every sharp person I heard was on the under in that game. And all it takes is like one or two big plays, and suddenly you're under 31 or whatever is in big time trouble. And I think that one went over at the end. So I totals are tough. I would say try to pick your spots really carefully and look for a decent spot to back in over. Is what I would say. Under 30 is tough.
I used to try to look for those unders, man. We know obviously with a bunch of backups. Now there's backups on defense as well, but I just kind of felt like it was me watching the preseason. It seemed like it was tough to watch these offenses go down and literally drive down the whole field. It was very rare. So I kind of used to try to find some money betting some unders, but obviously you got to try to find those anemic offenses or above average defenses that can keep the total down because some of these games you might see 3-0 at halftime.
Right, and I think that the historic sort of sharp mindset was let's play these games under because of that. But the preseason's only 3 weeks now, so they're gonna get a little bit more in. It's one less week. They're gonna be more likely to run some stuff, right? Like they don't have to show 4 games worth of stuff. So now you've got it when you consolidate it into 3 weeks. I feel like that, maybe makes a little bit of a difference. I don't know. It just seems like 30 tends to be low. Like I'm not saying the under's the wrong side. In fact, it's probably the right side more often than not. But I'd say like across the board, I feel like 30 is just low. Like it's not. That's not something I want to bet. I'd rather find one spot where I feel like the total is very low and try to
Right.
play it over. And actually, it's a good segue because the Falcons Lions might be it. That might be the
Let's
game that
talk
has all
about
the
it.
scoring here. Yeah.
Let's talk about it because
So
look, both of them have really good quarterback depth, right? So both teams have 2 or 3 quarterbacks that might. I mean, obviously the Falcons we've remained to be seen with guys like Felipe Franks. Who else do they have over
so
there?
the Falcons really interesting because you're going to have, it looks like Desmond Ritter from Cincinnati and then Felipe
Which I
Franks
like.
are be the guys getting the reps. And they're mobile guys. Like they're the
Right.
type of players that you want late in these preseason games because even if the offense is vanilla, right? Like they're, neither of those guys are going to be shy to like just go and try to make a play.
Right.
And both of them haven't had much experience. So it's like they're going to be willing to like put it on the line a little bit. Like a Desmond Ritter, right? It's his first time out in a preseason in an NFL jersey, like I think he'll go for it a little bit. Whereas maybe a veteran is understands, like he's been in the business a little while and understands it's just a preseason game. But I agree with you, Jay. The quarterback play after Goff and Mariota, Goff and Mariota should be decent here.
Right.
And another thing I'll point out is the especially with the Falcons, this team, like the third string on this team, is awful. Awful. And that extends to the defense. So this might be, and I know that this got hit by some sharp money. This might be your over right here. This could be the game that's like 14-14 at the end of the first quarter. And
not the highest total. Well, one of the highest totals for sure.
Right. Well, it's gotten pushed up too. I know sharp guys that were on this. Let's see. I have I can like rattle off some of the. So
I see 90. I see all the money on the over.
Yeah, that's a little concerning. That's a little concerning that everyone seems to be on the over, but I know that there's groups that took 33 and a half, and I think it's like up to 34 and a half. So I don't know if it's something I'll bet. I just wanted to point it out.
Sometimes does it makes like when if there are groups on it, that could be where the big monies come from. Like say if we're looking at a money percentage, right, which doesn't really matter, but let's just say we're looking at it and it's a big percentage, but we know that sharps are heavy on it. The money percentage is gonna be at high because they're coming and put big bets on it. Not necessarily mean that everybody's on it. I just wanted to like that's just something within myself as well that I'm just we all trying to learn, man, and trying to get some cash. But let's talk. But real quick, Trick. But as far as the Falcons, so you think the over will be the best bet? It's basically at -1 +1. Don't even really mess around with the toss up and probably just go with some points here.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the way I would look in this one. Again, I just want to preface this by saying there's one game I've bet so far, and I bet it hard, and we'll talk about it in a little bit. Okay. These are more just like thoughts on some of the games that come up on Thursday and Friday. I want, the Falcons, the only thing that concerns me with the Falcons is how poor their like second and third string is. Because I'd love to like play against the Lions here. I feel like, Hard Knocks, everyone's a Lions fan all of a sudden. And I think you're going to have like people just like wanting to back the Lions for that reason.
Right. And
it's like so they're going to come with what after Goff, they're going to go with Tim Boyle, David Blau, who are like, kind of goes back to what I said. Like they're experienced guys, but I don't know how much like they've both sort of been in the game for a little bit. Like, I don't know how much we're going to see out of them. And they're not overly neither of them are overly mobile. So like they're not, whereas like a Desmond Ritter is someone that I think would just be like out there making plays. And that's just a hunch on my part. We haven't seen Desmond Ritter put on an NFL jersey yet. So the side here is tough. I would say as it stands right now, I probably slightly lean toward the Falcons.
Got you.
But I have a feeling there's going to be scoring in this game. Let's just leave it at that. I do think this is the game that has some points.
Well, let's go to this other game that you like, Tree, because I want to know the info that you got on this. So we got the Jets here. It's basically at a pick, +1, -1. If you shop around, if you like the Jets, you can get a +1. If you like the Eagles, then you can. There's maybe +1, +1 out there. Mainly pick though. So you basically just pick the winner of this game. You got the Jets at the Philadelphia Eagles here. Total of 35.5 here, Trig. What do you like it here, my brother?
Yeah, so this is the most interesting sort of scenario of the week one so far, in my opinion, because the Jets. So I actually bet the Jets. I currently am sitting with like a bad number, if you will, on the Jets because I laid -135 earlier in the week. I I know a very, someone I respect and is very sharp bet the Jets. And I agreed. And I said, okay, I've got to go get this out to my clients, take minus 135 because I know it's not going to get better than that. It moves all the way up to 3. And then, there's counter buying at 3 all the way back to now you can get the Jets minus 110 at a pick. But I'll tell you exactly why this moved the way it did. So it was actually Eagles. I think it opened Eagles minus 1. And the Jets came out and said that they were going to play their starters. And that got bet up to minus 3. And the Eagles came out and said, we're going to play our starters. And so the market reacts to news, and the market also loves to take plus 3, even though you and I agree that plus 3 is not nearly as key of a number in the preseason.
All right.
The market still, the sharp guys still love that plus 3. They take plus 3, and then everyone piggybacks it all the way back down to a pick. So as far as that's concerned, the buying in this game is irrelevant to me, but I do see everyone on the Eagles. Makes me like the Jets even more. You'll see that money percentage, Jay, is very high on the Jets. The reason for that is the groups that bet the Jets probably came in big. And as far as the handicap here, I think that Robert Saleh, I think, could be a guy that cares about these preseason games. I'm just going to start there. He's 2-0 in the preseason. These two teams, he's 2-0-1. These two teams played to a 31-31 tie last year. Probably the most entertaining game of the whole preseason. Nick Sirianni, 0-2. I'm not saying he doesn't care, but, it's a small sample, but let's still point it out. One guy in their first year, 2-0 in the preseason. The other 0-2. And, Robert Saleh, he's a big, or Saleh, I probably say it wrong. I don't know, but he's a big motivator. Like, he's a motivator type guy.
Right.
So I could see him caring about these games because he's also, like you said, he's trying to sort of build a culture of winning there. Exactly. The Jets haven't had a winning culture in a while. So
They've
winning
been losing
these games,
their ass.
Exactly. So it might be similar to a couple of years ago. Remember we saw the Browns? I think the Browns went undefeated in the preseason.
Right.
Where
they needed that for confidence.
Right. It was like following like back-to-back like 1-15 seasons. So, the Jets are the perfect sort of candidate team that would care about these games. Whereas I think the Eagles, I still think even though the Eagles underachieve constantly, I still think there's this air of like where the Eagles were constantly in the mix, made the playoffs last year. So it's not quite that for Sirianni, in my opinion. But what really gets me to the window in this game with the Jets is I look at their backup quarterbacks and the Eagles' backup quarterbacks, and I just think that this sets up so good for the Jets, right? Because you're going to have – so Wilson and Hurts are not going to decide this game. But you've got Mike White, who started games last year. Joe Flacco, if he plays, obviously a veteran, knows, he's going to know the system. And then Chris Streveler was a 2019 Grey Cup champion with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. He's like 28 years old. Like, he's been around pro football for years now. And he got I think he got in a game or two with the Cardinals when Kyler Murray went down and actually got some NFL snaps. So you're telling me, that's what you're going to get with the Jets. With the Eagles, Minshew will get his snaps. But I still think they're not going to want to get him hurt because Jalen Hurts takes hits and whatnot. And I think they want to treat Minshew as if he's like 1A in terms of a starter. But he knows he's the backup. So it's like not like he needs to play a ton. You're probably going to see Carson Strong, rookie out of Nevada, will take his first NFL snap. And Reed Sinnett, who has been he was an FCS guy that's been mostly a practice squad player. And those are your two quarterbacks for the Eagles. Carson Strong played in the Mountain West. I don't care what anyone said. Preseason will be faster than Mountain West football is. Like, in my opinion, this will be a tough spot for him in his first action. And, the Eagles said they were going to play fast on offense, but I think it takes a while for the offenses to get going. So I could actually see that being a detriment here. The Eagles playing fast, like, it's going to take a week or two to catch up with that type of pace, in my opinion. So I could see a sloppy game for the Eagles, whereas I think the Jets are going to go out and play. Like, Mike White is going to go out and give you like a professional effort. I could say the same about Flacco. So I think the Jets, they'll win this game in the second half, in my opinion. Like, they'll be the better team in the second half. And if the Jets are down at halftime, come back with a second half bet. Because I think if they haven't taken it in the first half, they'll take it in the second half. So This is a client play for me. Jets pick, if you will, is a 4%er. It's the one I have up at Wager Talk. And Johnny Detroit would get mad at me if I don't fire out my promo code on your show, Jay. So
we're gonna do it at
my
the end. We're gonna do it at the
I'll wait.
end, Trig. I
All right.
appreciate that. No, I appreciate you giving us your pick too, man. The Jets. I'm riding with you on that one, my brother.
I love him in this spot. Love him.
So we coming to the end of the show now, man. We coming to the end of the show. I appreciate that. That was a nice breakdown as well on the Jets, and I just saw it move to -1 at a book as well. So it moved to but it's basically still -1's picks. You see what I'm saying? So it's basically still pick the winner here. But I like the breakdown, and you make a good point as well. I think a lot of the money was coming in, like saying that the Eagles, they're going to play their starters, and then you saw that Gardner Minshew was going to get some time, so people probably hopped on that. But you make a good point. You don't want to get, if Minshew's already, there's no real competition for the backup. He already knows he's dead. With Hurts already been a running quarterback, you definitely don't want to get him hurt or have some insurance with Minshew. So, and the Jets, like you say, newer head coach after losing so much, you kind of want to get some wins when you can, man. Some easy wins when you can. And all it takes is for the coach to want that win more than the other one. I could see it here in the Jets, my guys. Now, man, real quick, let's talk about some shirts, guys. You didn't know, got the website up, jmoneyismoney.com. If you'd like to support the channel and get some shirts, hey, I wouldn't talk you off. Smack City, us against the bookies. Let's get some cash shirts as well, small all the way up to 3XL. I appreciate y'all for supporting the channel, man. Now, let's talk about some free NFL picks, man, as we always do. Trig. Now, this is the time, man. If you guys know, we're partnered with Wager Talk, man. So this is what we do. I'll have a different Wager Talk cappers on here for NFL picks, preseason, regular season, all this good stuff. Trig will be back on here. We'll have 3 or 4 different people at the same time, man. Wager Talk are the NFL kings. Free picks, free videos, man. That's how I found out about them, watching the NFL videos. But Trig, anything you're liking on today or tomorrow's card to give out, and give them that promo for the for Wager Talk as well, my brother.
Yeah, so I haven't made a decision on anything today. As it stands right now, I would say Titans plus the points is the strongest lean I have. But yeah, I approach the preseason just like I do the regular season. So I'll be making bets on the preseason, and they'll be the same size, bets I know it's a little tougher to get down preseason, but at this point it's not. I feel like you just, go out, spread it around your outs if you have to. But as far as the preseason is concerned, my entire package is up. It's $99 for the entire preseason, and I'll have at least one 5% play. But Johnny Detroit, being the man that he is, gave me a code special for this show. Can't even tweet it out. It's NFL20, and it gets you an extra $20 off of that package. Last season in football, I went 83, 60, and 6, 58.1% for a 57.4% bankroll gain. Hoping to do that again this year. And guys, you know what? If you don't want to buy the plays, no problem. Follow me on Twitter at TopFlightSI. I give out as many as I can for free, as many thoughts as I can for free across all the sports I handicap, which would be Major League Baseball, Korean baseball, NFL, NCAA football, and college basketball. So just give me a follow on Twitter. I promise I'll make it worth your while, and come check us out at Wager Talk as well.
Appreciate that.
Hold on, one more thing. Come to the meet and greet if you're in Las Vegas next week.
Yeah, I wish I could be there, man. I wish I won't be able to make the meet and greet. I wish I could be there. One more time, what's that promo code for the $20 off?
Yeah, so it's NFL20. It works right at checkout. And if you're in Las Vegas, all the Wager Talk guys are going to be there. Guys and girls are going to be there hanging out at the Westgate on Saturday, August 20th. But we'll basically be around all weekend. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we're going to be hanging out. Come down. Wager Talk will be buying, I think. So they'll be putting the bill for the drinks.
It's on them, man. Free drinks. On Wager Talk, man. If you're in Vegas around August 19th to 21st, man, go check them out at the Westgate, my guys. Free drinks, man. But NFL 20, that's Trig's special $20 off. So he has a full preseason package. There's a ton of effing games, guys, like literally every day. So it's regular $99. You use NFL 20, you can get the whole package for $79. Might pay for that in one play, guys. I'm just saying. So what do I like on the card, guys? There's 2 games today. Personal plays, guys. It's nothing official because I barely bet anything on. It's just preseason and the first games as well in the preseason. So Personally, I sprinkled a little something on Giants money line. I didn't take it minus 150. That's when it was around minus 135, minus 136. I sprinkled on Titans plus 3.5, guys. You don't have to do it. You see what I'm saying? If you like the Ravens, you want to go with their track record, take it, guys. I'm not telling you what you have to take. I'm just simply telling you how I'm looking at these games, guys. It's against the grain. So Giants and Giants money line and Titans plus the points would be my two heavy leans for today. I sprinkled on those, and I'm riding with Trig tomorrow, man. I'm taking those Jets at a pick with him as well, man. I like it with a newer head coach after losing for so long. They're trying to get a win when they can. Actually, that's 3 road teams, man, but I like it. Maybe the road teams may come in here a tad bit more focused as well, guys. So yeah. I love it, man. Great show, Trig, man. If y'all didn't know, this is Adam Trigger from Wager Talk at Top Flight SI on Twitter, guys. Make sure you go follow him right now. This is NFL Talk with Jay. We're going up to new levels, guys. Please hit the like button, subscribe if you hadn't checked this out. Go check us out at wagertalk.com as well. I'm checking out the odds screen right now, just comparing the lines from every single book. It's definitely something that you need to do in the NFL, guys. Make sure you're getting the best line. Go follow Trig right now. And also NFL, the promo code is NFL20 on Wager Talk if you'd like to get $20 off his full preseason package, guys. That's the show. We out, my guys. Until next time.